This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, so let's start. So, very good morning, everyone, to the first demo session of JMeter uh, with AWS, Kubernetes, Docker, BeanShell, InfluxDB, Prometheus, Grafana. So, we will be and even we will be covering AppDynamics in this course. So, this course is mainly developed in such a way that you get an end-to-end scenario. Like, let's say you are joining as a performance engineer or a tester. So, it's not that always you will be only scripting. So basically, in performance engineering, we say the performance engineering test life cycle, or we can say performance engineering life cycle. It consists of mainly planning, scripting, execution, and analysis, right? So you need to know mainly to do all these activities. Not that you need to know only scripting, or you cannot like in interviews also you cannot crack in interviews if you are good at only one thing out of this. So you will get questions from wide areas of these. Okay, so you need to be good at these, at least one of the tools from each of these categories. So this course is also modeled in such a way that you excel in those each categories. For example, now as I said, so if you are an engineer or a performance engineer, if you take the cycle, okay, you start with planning, then you have scripting, then you have execution and analysis, right? So now in this course, if you see how the course is there and the syllabus which we are covering. So for example, for scripting and execution, we will be obviously seeing the tool JMeter extensively. Okay, so how to script, like how to do some performance test in JMeter, like how to script your any application, like let you take any web services or mobile app application or any REST APIs. So how you test it, right? So that we will learn using the tool JMeter. Now to do this planning, you need to be very good at the architecture or the current technologies which are there in the market, right? So that's why we will be learning Kubernetes, what is Docker, what is AWS basics. So that we will be learning, okay, so that you are good at planning like the architecture, to understand, to read the architecture. Not that you will be developing anything, but as a tester there is some basic knowledge which is expected in the market. Okay, so that we will be covering, like what is required from the Kubernetes side. So for example, when you're learning Kubernetes, though you might not develop anything in Kubernetes, but you need to know how to read that Kubernetes, how to debug Kubernetes, how to understand the issues in Kubernetes or Dockers or containers. Okay, and even AWS, how to do some basic configurations or connections in AWS. What are the basic components which you will come across in AWS or any cloud? Okay, so when we speak about AWS, what I will do is parallelly I will call out the names which you will see in Google Cloud or Azure. In that way, what will happen is you can easily correlate, because what happens in cloud is things are very much common. Okay, like for example, AWS you have EC2. Similarly, in Google Cloud we have compute engines. So it's pretty much similar. But the things, only thing what changes is how you the names. Okay, the names are changing, but the things remain pretty much similar. Okay, so in that way you learn about the cloud. Then scripting side, obviously, after you know how to plan and how to read the architecture, you know how to script and execute. Now analysis is a very important part, right? this is where the return on investment comes into picture, because you test something and you give the analysis regarding that test, what you're observing. So based on that only your developers or you will be fixing that system, right? So for that you need to have a proper analysis knowledge, and for analysis mainly we will be learning the tools like Grafana, Prometheus, InfluxDB, then something called Telegraph. Okay. Now, even if we speak about, these are like monitoring, we can say, okay, we can consider and group this into monitoring. Now, if I say profiling, okay, or we can say APM, okay, that's what the word you would have heard more. We will learn AppDynamics. So in this way, what we are doing is we are covering an end-to-end scenario, what a performance tester will experience in his journey, or we can say in his work life. Okay, because no one will be doing only one step out of this. Okay, they will be, every one engineer or tester will be doing all this. Maybe this one he might not. There will be business analysts or maybe the architects who might plan, okay, for you, but ultimately you will have to at least create a test plan. Okay, so you need to know that. So planning, the scripting, obviously you will have to do. Execution, you will have to do. Analysis, obviously there is no way you can escape analysis, you will have to do. So in these scenario, how will you do these things? Okay, that's what we will be covering in this course from starting to end. And even the flow of the course is also in such a way that we go from planning to analysis. Okay, so we will start with like how to read an architecture, different types of architectures, what basics of Kubernetes, Dockers, containers, AWS, and how to run few different commands in a Kubernetes, how to write a basic shell script. Okay, because when we hear about script, okay, people get worried. Oh, script is very difficult. Scripting is very difficult. But you might feel it very easy when I will show you some techniques or tricks to write these scripts, which you will be using in your deployments, or like let's say we can say this little bit of a level where you have to show some expertise in this performance engineering. And even these scripts are pre-built. You can use it directly. I will be sharing these files to you. So you will be able to use this in your projects also. So these scripts I will be sharing. Then once we learn about the basics of Kubernetes, what we will be doing is we will be seeing the JMeter extensively. We will be seeing all elements, recording,
Huh?
testing, and everything. If someone is not speaking, can they go on mute, please? Yeah, thank you. So yeah, so and next is BeanShell, which is a very important scripting available in JMeter. We will be seeing BeanShell scripting. So how to write some basic BeanShell scripts for the basic objectives like writing variables to a file, or creating new variables, using the variables, and all those stuff. Okay, we will be seeing that. Yeah, and now the main thing. Okay, so after analysis, obviously, we'll be seeing the monitoring tools like Grafana and all. Now, there is one more demand in the market, right? For CI/CD. Can anyone say what CI/CD?
Continuous integration continuous.
Yes. So this is now a demand in the market which no one can escape. Okay. So that's why we have also included in this course Jenkins with JMeter integration. Okay. So you will be learning also how to integrate JMeter with Jenkins. Okay, so that way you will be able to automate your tests, even automate your test report generations using the Jenkins tool. So now this is basically the tools which you will learn in this overall course. Okay. Now if I go to the course syllabus, anyways, this whatever syllabus is mentioned in the website, or it's mentioned. So basically, this is what we'll be covering in an overall nutshell. Okay, and deeper way, uh, and more deeper, like we will be learning JMeter very extensively, and also the analysis of on each tools. How will you do, and all those stuff you will learn. So any questions anyone till now?
Hi, Vishnu.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so any monitoring tool you're suggesting
Yeah.
for us?
Yeah, so basically, in this course, we are covering Grafana, Prometheus, InfluxDB because these are open source tools which we have. Now, if you go for paid ones like Neuralink and all, it will be similar. If you learn one tool, you can learn other tools also.
Okay, so what about Dynatrace?
Dynatrace, we are covering AppDynamics, which is very closer to Dynatrace. So if you know how to use AppDynamics, Dynatrace, you will be able to easily correlate with this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Vishnu, are we going to cover like NFR?
Yes, exactly. So in test plan, when we are speaking about the planning, right? So that time we will be looking into some topics like, for example, test plan document, how to create a test plan document, or some people call it test strategy document also. Then we have script definition document. Then we have something called workload modeling document. So in this, we will be covering the NFR section also in test plan.
Okay.
Yeah. Because basically what happens now, sometimes even NFRs you might have to create because if especially when the client is not aware of performance much. So in those situations, how to create an NFR also we will discuss. Like from if a new application you are getting and you want to create the NFRs for that, like you want to create the test plan for that. How will you create it? Okay, how to analyze the application and find out what are the parameters we need to decide and what are the key metrics which we need to plan. Okay, how to do that we will discuss.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So how many hours will this entire training take?
Yeah, basically the training I generally plan to complete in 40 hours. Generally because there are a lot of topics which we need to cover. So this is the minimum which I need to cover all this. So only thing is 40 hours means generally what I do is it's a working days, right? Like, so 5 working days I get. So 1 hour 5 per day I will take the session. And sometimes what happens is like just if the audience are okay or if they want to finish it little early, I might take some Saturday, maybe 2 hour sessions. Some Saturdays, not all Saturdays, and that also based on the audience how they respond. If they have some weekend plans and all, I will surely not take any class on those days. And also one more thing, sometimes, like for example, if I'm taking Kubernetes, so Kubernetes, I might not be able to continuously complete in 1 hour. So that time it might go to maybe sometime 1 hour, 15 minutes, or maybe around 1.5 hours, because there are some topics here which need a continuity. So in those situations, I will inform you little early that tomorrow's session might take around 1.5 hours. So yeah, just a heads up.
So Vishnu, will be there hands-on experience as well, like
Yes,
installing
yes,
everything and
exactly.
working.
Yeah. So basically, see, we will be deploying one application called Sock Shop onto our Kubernetes cluster. So what basically we will be doing now? Will be just I will explain you that. So basically, we will be creating a Kubernetes cluster. So you will, in this process, you will learn most of the basics regarding Kubernetes, kubectl commands, different tools which you need to install for Kubernetes. What is kubeadm? What is containerd? What is Docker? And all those you will learn. Okay, once you create a Kubernetes cluster, we will deploy a sample microservice-based application called Sockshop. So in this process, what you will learn what is microservices and how to test microservices and all those stuff. Okay, so that we will be doing. Then we will be onto this over to this. We will be deploying our monitoring tool. Okay, so basically all this we will be doing hands on your local machine, so you don't need to have further dependency also that you don't have an account or because you can do everything on your local machine. And once you do this, so you basically you get a clear hands on each of these, like not only microservice, not only Kubernetes, not only the monitoring, even we will be running the test in JMeter at the same time. So you will get an end-to-end scenario for hands-on. I hope that answers your question, right?
Hi, where can I find the course syllabus?
Yeah, you can find the course syllabus. Just a minute. I will put the link in the chat.
Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you.
But you can ask me any question because the course syllabus might not convey correct. Maybe you might have confusions in getting the correct what you need. Okay, so if you can ask me, like for example, are you covering this? So you are expecting something. I can call out if I'm not covering or if it's out of scope. Anyone can. Okay.
Hi,
Oh,
hi Vishnu.
thank you.
Do we cover
Yeah. Right.
mobile performance
Hi,
also?
Sunil. Yes, yes. We when we are doing in JMeter section, we are focusing on testing web services. That is mainly. Then we have mobile applications. How to test a mobile application. In that, we will be learning two new tools. One is Fiddler. Okay, how to use Fiddler. Fiddler is for capturing some requests and all for debugging. And also, we will be learning how to use a har file. Okay, we call it how to convert a har file to a JMX file and all those things we will learn.
Mhm. What are the prerequisites? Like, is the Java required?
No, not required. So no worries, everyone. Like there is no coding language required in this course. If at all anything is required, I am giving the basics. You will learn that here. There is no, even I will not be sharing some material and I will say study and come. No, there is nothing like that. Everything will be covered in this course. You don't need to do anything out of this course. Only thing is you might have to practice what I'm doing here as a hands-on after the sessions, because that way you will be able to keep pace with me. Otherwise, what happens is you might forget something. Okay, then the link will go off. Okay, so try to do whatever I do in the class at least maybe in a week during the weekends you can also cover because it's just 5 hours, and that also you can quickly do the hands-on. Okay, so keep
Hi, this is
revising. That's it.
Charan Pal.
Yeah,
Hi,
hi
this is
Charan Pal.
Charan Pal. Yeah,
Yeah,
I have a question. So, do we need a Windows computer, or can we use a Apple MacBook? Or
you can use any. Only thing is in my course I am using Windows, so you will have a easy correlation. But Mac also it's
okay,
not a big deal. Okay, I can, if you face any issue somewhere in Mac, I can resolve it for you. Not a
oh,
problem.
okay. Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah. Any other questions? Samir, Suman, Alekia,
Vishnu,
Vivek. Yeah, Suman. Yeah,
hello. Yeah, you are
yeah.
talking about performance engineering again. Is this course is performance testing from basics?
Yeah, so basically, see, performance engineering, there are some concepts like JVMs and all, which I will be covering, but I might not go deeper into create thread dumps or heap dumps because this course is just 40 hours, so I need to cover all these things. And mainly, if I speak about performance engineering, the part which we cover related to performance engineering is the CI/CD, the JVMs, and the AppDynamics. Okay, so how to use AppDynamics, how to analyze. So that's where the performance
Okay.
engineering mainly will come. Others will be performance testing, obviously.
Okay. So it will be from basics, right? Performance
Yeah,
testing.
correct. The only advanced will be, as I said, what I will say is advanced might, you might feel advanced is the maybe the CI/CD, the Jenkins part, and but others will be all basics to intermediate performance testing. What is expected? Maybe 1 to 8 years of experience people. Okay, what is expected from them? That will be covering. Not very high end concepts and all, which is very hard for you to grasp.
Okay.
Yeah. If you are under 8 years of experience, what is expected from your maximum 10 years of experience? What is expected from you? We will be covering here everything. And this Kubernetes and Dockers are more sort of it's for little showing your expertise, because when you are writing a resume, to make your resume strong, there are some keywords which are required. So we are covering those keywords so that if you put that in your resume, no one can stop you from shortlisting. Okay, so
Okay. So
that's
if
the
you
main
will
point.
yeah, if you will cover performance engineering part that will be needed for 8 or 10 years experience, then uh, actually I have 2.5 years
Hmm,
of experience. Am I going to
hmm.
understand that or not? I'm worried about it.
You will. So because why you will is what I am giving here is from my experience, right? So I know. So it's all about the experience. What here? There is no rocket science here. So if you have experience in something, you can easily deliver it to anyone. Okay, it's not that. But only thing is that challenges which you faced, right? So that challenges which you faced, I have to convey it to you because to face that challenge, you have to go through a long journey. Okay, and that journey is what I
Okay,
am going to share in this course. Yeah,
okay, okay. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, anyone? Vivek, Nikesh, Sindhu, Abhi, Mangesh, Shirisha, Uday, Abhinash. Any questions? Patil, Ranjan, Harish, Rashmita, Amol, Surendra. Okay, I
Hi
guess
Vishnu.
Satya.
Hello.
Yeah, Vivek. Yeah,
Yeah,
Vivek.
Vivek this side. Will this course will be helping to crack interviews after this because I have a 2 years of experience and I'm looking for a job change also with this course. Actually, I have a hands-on experience on load runner only, so wanted to
Mhm.
learn more on JMeter.
Yeah. So see, if for what I'm saying is, if with this course you are not able to um, uh, I meant crack any interview. I will say you cannot crack 10 out of 10 interviews. That no one can do. Okay, because ultimately it's based on the questions which you get and what you answer. But what I will say is this will surely increase the probability to 80 to 90%. Okay, so you will be surely shortlisted. That I will give a sure shot because if you model your resume with all these keywords which we are learning, you will surely be shortlisted. And even I will be giving some good interview questions and how to make your resume strong. I will be sure I generally discuss these things also during the course. So you can rewrite your resume also as I say. Then your probability will surely become 90, 80 to 90%. And yeah, obviously you will crack the interview. Then how the HR will discuss with you, that's a different story. Okay.
Okay, okay.
Hi Vishnu.
Yeah. Hi. Hi.
Are you covering the client-side performance testing?
Yeah, so see, basically, I will be covering one tool that will be very quickly, but it's not that very deeply. I will be covering one tool called GT Metrics and also how to use our dev tools to find out any issues in your client side. But that also will be very, I will not say very detailed level because we don't have that much of a time to go deeper into that. But yeah, maybe half an hour session on that client side. That's all because mainly in a performance engineering or testing background what a market expects is your server side. Okay, so because you need to understand the server side very well because that's where the real performance engineering happens. Client side is all about even because there are a lot of other parameters also which is dependent on client side, like not only the images or whatever we are sending but also the client performance, right? Like the client bandwidth or the client side machine, what they are using, what browser they are using. So there's a limit to which you can tune it, but server side there is a whole world, okay, which you can, or we can say a lot of opportunities. Okay,
Vishnu,
then,
so
yeah,
can we get
yeah, Nikhil.
recorded sessions of this?
Nikhil, sorry, your voice broke. Can you repeat?
Can we get recorded sessions of all these sessions?
Yeah. So what you will get, right? I will just then okay. Let's discuss that. So after this like during this course, first is anyways you will have a recorded video of all this. So recorded sessions you will get, recorded videos. Even the materials I will share, the drive. So in these materials you will get all the codes and all what I'm using from my experience, what all I have created till now. Okay, I will be sharing all
Okay.
this with you so that you can do it directly using hands-on. And also I guess by the end of the course you'll get a certificate also of JMeter from Isha. So that's what you will get mainly, and obviously you will get a lot of knowledge. Just yeah,
So,
yeah.
can we get some sort of guidance or support in future whenever we require, like in real-time projects?
Yes, yes, you can always contact me through WhatsApp. Maybe I might not be able to connect always because I get lot of requests. Can we get into a call? But the problem is, as you know, right? Like I keep on
Yeah,
taking batches. There are so many people in the but I can always help you
I
through WhatsApp chat.
I can understand.
Send me
Like,
the
we'll post some sort of any issues in WhatsApp, so if you can reply in your free time, also it will be fine.
obviously I will help you. I'm always ready to help because you just send me the screenshots and what's the error you are facing, some details, and I can easily chat through chat. I can resolve the issue. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah. Go ahead. I can see some hands. Ramya, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. So I'm totally new here with the performance testing. I happened to go through a couple of YouTube videos and I wanted to take this course. So
Okay.
my specific question is, will I be able to, I mean, will we be getting like, what is covered on a particular day? And if at all that needs some basic prior knowledge, will you be able to give us a heads up that, it's better to have this knowledge so that we can do some a little bit of a homework before sitting for the class?
Yeah, that's a great question because what I do generally, right? Because I have even observed this same sort of queries from the previous batches. So what done for that is I just put the agenda whenever there is an important topic I'm going to take. I put the agenda a day before. So and also the prerequisite, if anything, I'm expecting from you, like let's say some download or some software which I want you to keep it ready. That is first
Okay.
thing. Second is
Okay.
recordings you already have. So if you miss some class also or in those situations, you can go through recordings and always be in pace with me. Okay, so that option is also there. Yeah.
Okay.
So I hope
All right.
that answers your question from you. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. Yeah.
Will we also cover Groovy as part of this training,
Yeah, so
or is it?
basically here we have chosen BeanShell because of the lot of requests which we get. Groove is little outdated nowadays. Only Jenkins side we use that in the pipeline and all. But yeah, so we'll be covering BeanShell now here. But
Okay,
I can give you some good materials which covers Groovy. Maybe even from my repositories, I can give you some codes so that you can work on.
okay.
Yeah. Okay. So let's begin then. If no more questions, I guess most of the questions related to the course is completed. I'm not going through the course syllabus again. Like anyways, we that's what we covered from here. So we'll be doing JMeter introduction, then the scripting, or then test executions, even the JMeter elements. We will go in detail. What are JMeter elements are there? Even web services execution, REST services, REST APIs. How you do the integration with AppDynamics, Grafana, InfluxDB, and Jenkins. Okay, and we'll be seeing AWS basics also. Let me delete this. So we'll be seeing the AWS basics also, so that you are comfortable with AWS when you are doing it in your project. Okay, so you know how AWS looks, what are the components in AWS which you will be more working on. Okay, and those things we will be seeing. Then if yeah, so pretty much that's the update regarding the course, and I hope most of you would have even understood the like even cleared your questions. Okay, what you will be getting from this course. So let's start our syllabus course. Okay, with the first topic. So let's start with the performance testing. Okay, so that's what we are here, right? So we need to understand first what is performance testing or engineering before we jump into anything. So, can any one of you give me in few words like what you have understood performance testing is all about? Anyone? And no worries if it is wrong also in the overall course, because from the mistakes or the wrong statements, we might get new answers, okay, new questions. So feel free to answer. We are all from same, we're all learners here. Okay, so be free to call out the questions or be free to answer the questions also. There's no problem in that. And always you can interrupt me if you have a query. Yeah, anyone?
Yeah, so it's nothing but the checking the behavior of the application by applying some load.
Yeah, okay. So let's say behavior of the application. I will say behavior for in simple words I'm putting for multiple users. Okay, anyone, anything else, anyone, any other
Speed
points?
and stability of the application.
Okay, speed and stability, any other?
So how the application performs in a real-time scenario by imitating that.
Okay, performance in real time scenario.
How
That's a
fast it
good,
responds, the application responsiveness.
exactly. Okay, that's also a very important thing. So speed or response. Okay, so
Yeah.
response time. Okay, I'll just give the word response time. Anything else coming in
Checking
your mind?
whether the application is passing the SLAs, performance SLAs.
Okay, so I will say non-functional NFR passing. Okay, let's just say, because why I specifically said NFR is because performance is a non-functional testing. Okay, we don't work on functional side, but we are more interested on the non-functional end of the application. So basically, performance testing is a non-functional testing. That's why it's called non-functional requirement. Okay, anyone, anything else coming in your mind? Because why I'm saying is say it out. Okay, if wrong also, because if you say, like, let's say I look how the application is behaving when there is a disaster, but if you say that, I can say, I can just correct it saying, okay, that's a disaster recovery testing. Okay, it's not a performance testing. So in that way you will also know what is not performance testing, because it's not always to uh, only to know what is. Okay, you need to know also what is not, so that you can create the proper test plan. Yeah, anything else, anyone?
Evaluating the capability of the application.
Yeah, so that we call it something called capacity planning. Okay, that we do. Yes, in performance, we have a responsibility called capacity planning. That's
So
what
in
your point
performance
is.
testing, the main objective is to see how well the application is working under stress or load, and like if it behaves as it is supposed to behave, or checking whether with increasing the load of the on the application, if the performance degrades or it keeps working as it is supposed to do. I think that is the main objective of performance testing.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so stress and load. Okay, that's the keyword I took from that. So if you put all this in a nutshell, okay, so performance testing is all about understanding two things. Okay, one is how your application is behaving, is behaving under load. So when you do this, okay, when you are understanding, okay, how your application is behaving under load, so you will get two things out of this. One is the load which your application can take, load bearing capability, or I can say load characteristics. That than saying load bearing capability, what are the load characteristics? Okay. And second is stability. So this performance testing revolves around these two words, load and stability. So that is the reason, if you see, everywhere we will be speaking these two words. how stable your application is, what's the load you applied on it. So load stability, load stability, load stability. So that's the word. These two words are the main keywords in performance testing, which we need to focus on. Okay, now these are two words, right? Load and stability. So how can you quantify it? Like, how can I say if I have so this load is a good load, or this stability is a good, this is a stable application. So there should be something for me to quantify, or we can say some key point indicators, right? So what are those? So let's see that. Okay, let's say I have an application. Okay, I am running a test. Okay, running a test on, let's say some 100. Let's take Amazon. Okay, and Amazon.com. Okay, that's the application I'm testing. And let's say some 500 users are currently using Amazon. Okay, some 500 users are using, and when I plot a graph, this is number of users, or I can say, rather than, okay, let's keep it number of users, and this is time, or rather than saying users, what I will say is a number of times application, or we can say number of times Amazon.com is launched. Okay, so let's say 500 users are constantly using the application, okay, over time. So let's say my application looks something like this. I meant the plot. So basically this is numbers, okay, like this is 5, or this is 4, 5, some 3, some 5, like that. Okay, now, and also let's say there is one more graph which looks like this. Okay, and again these are numbers, okay, some values, and these values nothing but how many time Amazon.com I have, or we can say it's per second. Okay, like in 1 second how many times Amazon.com is opened. So here it is 5 times in 1 second, 5 times in 1 second, 5 times in 1 second, 5 times, 4 times in 1 second, and this is time. Okay, like basically the time, 24 hours or whatever the time. Now if you see both of this graph, this is graph 1 and graph 2. Which one looks little better to you? Blue one or red one?
Red
Red
one.
one.
Yeah. So I hope everyone understood, right? What is this graph about? Like it is basically, so Amazon.com. Okay, let's make it 500. Okay, so that people can correlate with users. Okay. So basically, Amazon.com 500 users are constantly opening. Okay. So what happens is every second 500 openings are there here. Here it is 400, 500, some, and it's keep, this graph is somewhat like this. Okay, but what is happening is for the same application or same conditions, the same application behaves in two way. Let's say one is blue way and one is red way. Which you feel is the like good application out of this according to performance?
The red one.
Exactly. Okay. The reason why is, see here, both of the places it is 500 users. Okay, that is constant. Here also 500 users. Here also 500 users. But here, what is happening in blue one? The fluctuation, the way the number of openings per second is there, is very high. The fluctuation is very high. Here, the fluctuation is very low. Okay, and that's why we say this one is more stable. Okay, and stability is quantified using a parameter called throughput, which we will discuss. Okay, what is throughput? And load. Okay, load is quantified using a parameter called. So let's say I have 500 users. Okay, And let's say Amazon.com loads in 10 seconds. Loads means like it's taking 10 seconds for the Amazon.com to fully load. Okay. Now let's say 1000 users. So will the response time be higher or lower for 1000 users?
Higher.
It will be higher.
It will be higher. Okay. So that is why if your load is increasing, your response time will also increase. Okay. So for load, the quantifying factor is the response time. So now if I put in a nutshell about what we were speaking, how to quantify the KPIs, right? So what are the two KPIs now? Mainly we are interested in response time and throughput. Okay. So performance testing is all about mainly monitoring or optimizing these two values. So in your NFRs also, you will mainly find these two values. So everywhere, these two values will be the main hero KPIs. Okay, so these are the main important things which you need to look when you are doing a performance testing. Now, these two things we will see in detail, uh, in depth as we progress. But just I wanted to make you understand that the KPIs or the key point indicators, we call it key point indicators, which we are interested in performance testing is response time and throughput. Okay. So now can anyone say what will happen now? Like let's say if your application is like someone asks you this question, okay, what is performance testing? Now how can you answer? Anyone? Can anyone try that? What's performance testing? Like if someone is asking in an interview, okay, and you want to say it in 2 lines.
Checking the stability of the application under a particular load.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So this way and
To
looking for two major parameters, which is the response time and throughput. Okay, which is
to measure
directly correct, which is directly correlating to these two characteristics of your application. Right. Now, before I deep dive into more of performance testing, we need to see some basics regarding the request. What is a request? What is hits or what are transactions? Okay. So let's try to understand few things regarding that and also some basics of architecture. Okay, what we have. So let's say now let's go back into the time. Okay, and let's start with there. If you see the architecture, there are different tiers of architecture. Okay, we call it one tier, two tier, three tier, and yeah, after three tier, it's all entire architecture we call it. Now, what is a one tier architecture? Okay, so whenever there is an application, okay, so there are multiple layers to that application. Okay, so like let's say there is a browser here. Okay, so a user is browsing. Okay, so now when he types some URL, okay, the request we call it request. Okay, so he's typing a URL. The request goes first layer one, then layer 2, layer 3, and the request response we call it. It will come, come, and you will see the screen in front of you. So for example, if I open Amazon.com, okay, so now this is Amazon.in which I am entering. Okay, so if I learn how the process is happening, okay, how the request is going or how this web page is coming in front of me. If I try to see the steps, first is let's say I hit Amazon.in. Okay. Now this Amazon.in, how will if you see this Amazon.in, okay, if I type Amazon.in, there is a IP address for this Amazon.in. That is clear to everyone. I hope that you know. All right. If there is a domain, there is an IP address behind it. That everyone knows, right?
Yes.
Right. So, for example, now if I want to search something, okay, like for example, let's say I'm opening some website. Okay. So here, see, it's an IP address. Okay. But why I did need a domain? Why can't I use the IP address directly? What do you think? Why I need a domain? I can directly type this number, right? So why I need a domain, some name?
People can't remember those numbers.
Exactly. Okay. So remembering numbers is hard to us, but remembering names is easy for us. Okay. So we have an IP address. That is one reason. Second reason is, now this name I will keep constant, and this IP address I can keep changing whenever I want, as per some requirement or something. So what will happen if I change the IP address frequently, and if I don't have this name, is it okay? Like, can my user remember that? Because every time IP address is changing, where he will he go, right? Amazon, when he wants to go, like, let's say, if at all he remembers the IP address, okay, like now he's typing this IP address. Now next time the IP address has changed, he has to remember that, which is very difficult, right? So the name you keep it constant. So IP address, if it changes also, name will remain same. Now, okay, so now there is an IP address behind that name. Okay, Amazon. There's an IP address behind that name. So let's say there is one IP. But when you are entering the Amazon.in, is IP address known to you? Like when you means when your browser is hitting Amazon.in, does the browser know what is IP address? Or whether it has to, or it has to fetch from somewhere, right? So where will it fetch from? It will fetch from the DNS records. So where is the DNS records? So like let's say the DNS registrar. There are a lot of DNS registrars in the market. So let's say I go to Cloudflare. Cloudflare is one sort of DNS registrar. Now, this is one website. It's sidhenga.com. Okay. Now when I hit this, there is an IP address behind it, right? So if I go to the DNS record of this domain, so which is this one, if I log into Cloudflare, if I go to sidhenga.com, I go to DNS. So I can see there are a lot of DNS records which I have added. Okay. Now in that DNS record, there is one record called A record. Okay. And that A record will point to an IP. So basically all my files, all my details, all my things will be sitting on this IP address or this computer with this IP address. Okay, so when I'm typing sidhenga.com, first step, what is happening is it will go to this DNS records. The browser will redirect to the DNS records and it will find the IP first. Okay, once it finds the IP, so now the IP is known. Okay, now once the IP is known, what is the next step? What do you think? It will go to that IP address, right? So now, for example, if I say, take my computer, okay, I enter IP config. See, this is the IP address of my computer, right? So every computer or every server has one IP address. Okay. So that is what this IP address is all about, which we are getting, okay, from here. from here, the IP address which we are getting, right? That is the IP address of that computer or that server where my files are sitting. Okay, from where this processing or everything has to happen. Okay, so once you hit it, it will go to that IP address. Then what will happen? My server, so I will put a server. My server will take whatever it wanted. Okay, let's say it's a home page. Okay, which it wanted home page. So it will deliver that home page back to the browser. So this is how the communication happens in a browser. So this is stage 1, I can say stage 2 and stage 3. So basically this is one stage. Okay, basically it will go to the server with that IP address. Now my question is why I need this domain registrar. Why I need this? Now for example, in my example we had Cloudflare, right? Why I need this guy, this one, this Cloudflare? Why I need this? Anyone? We call them domain registrar. From this example, what I gave, why we need a domain registrar? Okay, let's say, um, let's say Amol is buying one domain. Okay, Amazon.com or let's say Amazon.co.in. Okay, and Harish is buying. Harish also wants to buy Amazon.co.in. Can they do that? Can two people buy same domain?
Oh, we cannot.
No.
It cannot. So who takes care of that?
Domain
There should be.
registrar.
Correct. The domain registrars will take care of that. Okay, that no domains are being repeated or no domain which is already registered is sold to someone. Okay, because it is very important. Now let's say if they were not there, okay, and there was no central repository to handle this. This Amazon dot in, if I buy, what will happen?
It will redirect to your page instead of original available.
Exact. And also, is it a disaster for Amazon? Because their whole
Yes.
business is happening through this domain. Okay. And that domain is now mine. So I am a billionaire in one day. Okay. So that important domain is, okay, try to understand. So if you lose your domain, you are losing your business. Okay. So that much important thing these people will be handling. That's why they are called domain registrar. So all domain related records, we call it. Records are nothing but some definitions like the IP address, then their CNAME record, MX record, TXT record. So basically each has one importance. Like CNAME is if you have a subdomain, we call it. Okay. You can give subdomain. You would have seen, like, for example, this sidhenga.com, there is lot of subdomains like alias.sidhenga.com or some dev.sidhenga.com. So basically different subdomains will be there. Those if you want to create, you give CNAME. Similarly, MX is mail exchange, we call it. So if you have a mail server, you have to configure that here. So all these details will be in one domain, Siddhika.com, and it will be under one registrar. So my question is, do we pay this registrar? Because they are doing a service for us, right? Do we pay them?
Yes, we have to.
Yes, we have to. Okay, so it will be yearly or 5 yearly, whatever. Now my question is, will Amazon.in have a third party registrar or they will be their own registrar? So Amazon and such big companies like Google or Facebook, they will be their own registrars. Okay. The reason why they are own registrar, anyone? Why?
To prevent fraud, so other people don't make use of their
Exactly.
names.
So see, now if Amazon.in gives their registration responsibilities to this Cloudflare. Now one day if Cloudflare says that by mistake we sold your domain, what will happen? Though they give case or whatever, the lost is gone, right? They have to fight for it then. So better is keep the registration responsibilities also with us only. That's why they are their own registrars. Okay. Yeah. So that's about the domain registrars. Okay, which is very important, which we need to understand. Now, so after registrar IP address, then we have the server. So this is how the flow will happen. Okay, whenever you're hitting a IP or whenever you are hitting a domain, we call it. The flow will happen like this. First, it will go to DNS records in the domain registrar, then find the IP address, then the server. Okay. Now,
Uh,
which
So
is very
Vishnu, here
important.
one
Okay.
question. So
Yeah.
when we make a request, let's say Amazon.in, some other
Hmm.
site, so is it going
Hmm.
to search all the records, all the DSN registers,
Yeah,
domain
every
registers,
DNS records. Yes, all records. The reason why all records are fetched is because see, it's all about. It's not only the IP address. Okay, whenever you are hitting some domain, what happens is this all these records will be like a bundle. It's not that individually browser will take. It will be taken as a bundle, okay, like a request. Okay, and in that it will look for the A record so that it can go to that IP address. But other records are also important because those are the mail servers. So for example, now if you're sending a mail through your domain, like let's say amol@siddhenga.com, okay, or amol at some xyz.com. So if you want to have that email ID, okay, that username, um, then you will have to add this MX record, which is a mail exchanger. So these records are very important. Yes.
yeah, I understand, but you are saying like there are several domain registers, right?
Hmm. Oh, okay.
So
So
just
your
like
question is,
Cloudflare and all. So
mhm.
so how it knows like which register it should go and search?
That's a good question. Okay. So I got your question now. Yeah. So see, that's where all these registrars, no, these are third-party registrars. Okay. Third party means the main registrar is one global one. They are like a global entity. Okay.
Okay.
Getting my point. So it's more sort of leasing out. Okay. Leasing out means like, so let's say you have a Honda car dealer. You are a Honda car dealer. Okay, so Honda is the main guy, right? Dealers will be many. Getting my point?
Yeah.
Right. Any other question?
Vishnu, in my server response time, this DNS response time is also included, right?
Yes, exactly. So if your DNS is slow, that response time will also be there. So DNS means like, see, when you are hitting an application, it will go to DNS record. It needs to find out the IP address. So this step, if it takes more response or it's delayed or your registrar is not that like your registration side or the registrar side, his server is not working properly or your DNS server is not working properly. In those situations, the time will be more. So if you see here, for example, if I open this, okay, and if I inspect it, if I go to network, if I reload it, so if you go to waterfall here you can see there's a request send, waiting for server response, and content download, right? So totally it is taking 39.9 milliseconds. So this
Yeah.
queuing, stalled, request send, so the basically the time waiting for server response, right? This is the time when this real server processing has started. So all this time, 1.21, 1.62.2 are due to the connection, which is happening.
So can
You
we
will get
capture
more.
this DNS response time in JMeter separately?
You can, but the thing is, the DNS response is more better captured in the client side performance tool like GT metrics or some tool, okay, than JMeter, because that way it is more, we can say, it's more, I'm not getting that word quickly. It's more efficient, okay, if you do it using a client side performance tool like GT metrics. Here you will get a
But
more
in
better.
it is like UI with single URL, right? But during the load, how can we capture this? Can we integrate with Gmail?
Yeah, so see, DNS records the response time. Actually, this DNS record response time will, if it's your own server, what you need to do is DNS server you can separately test it. So you don't need
Okay.
to test it like what is it called? In your request itself, automatically that network latency one part will be there. Okay,
Yes.
so that latency part you can directly see in Grafana or AppDynamics. If the latency is very high, that means your DNS also there is some issue.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Now this is one website. Okay, so if you are doing some client side performance, basically we can use this. Yeah, we will stop in 2 minutes. It's already 9. I know you might have some meetings and all. Yeah. So if you go to the waterfall here, you can see more further details. See, this is the time. Are you seeing some value called DNS lookup? Everyone able to see,
Mm.
right? So this is the value which which is happening due to the DNS server. Okay. So for if you see all these values, right? These are the resources which you are getting, okay, from the server, and for each you will have a DNS lookup value. Okay. So if you see here, it's 0 milliseconds because it's very less. Okay. Now if you see this one, this is a CSS file which it is downloading for to paint my website. So it's around 165 milliseconds DNS lookup. Okay. So you are able to see, right? So DNS server issues also you can find out using this waterfall model. We will discuss this in detail, okay, as we progress with the course. We will be coming back to
Hold
these.
on, it's marked in the same screen. So initially,
Yeah,
if only one request will be getting the DNS details, right? But again, why for every resource, like for CSS, JSL, it is getting DNS again.
yeah. So see here, it's for example, now if you go to the so it's based on the application which you have. Okay, for example, here we are using a in this website which we have, which we are hitting the Siddhanga.com, that is based on a WordPress. Okay, it's a CMS. Okay, now the WordPress CMS is more sort of it's not that when you hit Amazon.in it will hit only one URL. Okay, there is multiple URL redirects also which can happen. So for those
Yes.
redirects also the IP address or the DNS has to be looked upon.
Okay.
Getting so that's why you will see multiple DNS lookups also in the request. But those are
Okay.
parallel. Okay, that you need to understand. Parallel means now, for example, these are see all these are parallel requests.
Yes.
So if so, it's all added. No, it's not that in series it's get added. But if you see these three, right? These three are series requests. Basically, they are adding more
Yes.
response time than these because these are actually at least parallel requests. So it's more, it's getting what you can say, it's getting sandwiched, right? In,
Got it.
but these are series, yeah, yeah. So that we need to, so these things we need to fix. Why these redirects are happening? 301 redirect, okay? Because this is happening because you hit HTTP, but my website is HTTPS. So what it is doing automatically from HTTP, it is redirecting to HTTPS. For that, see how much time it took? 438 milliseconds. Just because you didn't give HTTPS. For example, now if I do the same thing, um, Just a minute. Okay, until this is over. So yeah, so this is all about how the stages of your request goes. Now, mainly as a performance engineer or a tester, what we are interested is in the stage which is server. Okay, so the server box is there, right? That's where all our performance issues are sitting. Okay, we need to resolve that issues. So that's where we will be mainly focusing on. And now in the server also, there are different types of architecture to the server that we will discuss. Okay, so when you are entering the server, there will be middleware, there will be CDN. We will discuss all those. There is front end, back end. Then there is something called load balancers. Then there are services. So we will discuss all those which will be related to the server. Okay, that we will discuss tomorrow. So now it's already 9:10, so we can discuss about the server and the architecture tomorrow. Yeah, so this one, if you see now, see when I entered HTTPS, are you seeing some improvement in response time?
Yes.
Just by giving HTTP to HTTPS, my performance has improved because that redirect is not happening, right? See directly the first, getting my point. The first one is not there here. See, right? So that's why even the domain is very important. Okay, what you are you need to see how the performance can be improved using the domain also, the proper redirects, proper configurations.
Vishnu,
Yeah,
how
anyone, any,
you have changed, yeah, how you
sorry,
have changed it from HTTP to HTTPS and configured
just
it?
just I gave the URL with HTTPS. If you give without HTTPS, just okay, it's nothing. If I give HTTPS, okay, it will take HTTPS. If I don't give anything, I give only this one, it will take HTTP as the default.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can analyze it from GT metrics only, or is there any?
We can
Uh,
analyze it. See, JMeter is also a free tool. You can also create an account and you can do this. Even JMeter side also you will be doing the same thing. But JMeter we will not be doing, like if it's a SSL based domain, we won't be hitting without SSL because obviously whatever you're testing will be SSL based. Okay, so you have to hit HTTPS there. That we will be learning how we do that as we progress. So SSL certificates we will be seeing. Okay, it's again a good topic to take, and how the performance will improve with respect to SSL. Okay, and what is SSL and all we will learn. Anyone, any other questions, or let's stop here for today. Yeah, okay then. Let's stop here for today and let's continue tomorrow. We'll see the server architecture, what's the load balancer, CDN, front end, back end, different services and all. We will see tomorrow. Okay. Thank you all and have a good day. Meet you tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you.